February was another huge month for games. It was truly incredible. I played a lot for review and pleasure, so without further delay, let's just dive right into the obscure and AAA titles I went through. Let's begin with Active DBG Brave's Rage. It was a roguelike card-based RPG. You start with one hero, but unlock more as you go. That's about the end of the reward system, which is a shame because I like my roguelikes with better incentives to keep me going. This game is incredibly challenging for a roguelike as you have to master the mechanics quickly and need a lot, and I mean a lot of luck on your side. I like the visuals and concept of it, but I fell off pretty fast. Next, AkaR is, well, I won't spend much time on it. It's a new shooter that I think had a lot of potential, but there was just so much going on for me to comprehend. Nothing made sense, but it is bright and colorful. I enjoyed that. I think I would have loved it if I were on drugs, and if it was in VR like Tetris Effect. Not a bad game, but yeah, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Next, Dust Neon is another roguelike adjacent game, except this one is a top-down shooter. You go through randomized dungeons and levels to help draw out the next boss. Defeat the boss, move on to the next area, and repeat. You gain various currencies on your runs, which you can spend back at HQ to boost stats like HP, gain new abilities, weapons, and so forth. It's a grind, to be sure, and the cover-based mechanics aren't fantastic. It's another roguelike I enjoyed, but didn't adore. Next, Elderand is a Metroidvania with a Souls-like tinge. That is to say, it is a challenging but nowhere near impossible game. It's a typical action RPG in this genre, wherein you go around interconnected maps, fight monsters, unlock new abilities to dive deeper, collect new weapons, level up, and so on. I wish there was a bit more story to it to make me more engaged beyond the concept of you being a chosen mercenary on a mission to fight the darkness. Story aside, I quite enjoyed this one and would recommend it to anyone feeling that itch, that Metroidvania itch, until Hollow Knight Silksong comes out. Next, a truly weird game, Fashion Police Squad, is a wild concept for a game because you are literally a member of the Fashion Police. It's an old school shooter in the vein of Doom, except it is not violent. You shoot enemies with various guns to make their clothes better. There needs to be more shooters like this because one can only take so many bloody affairs. While not fantastic, as it did lack some challenge and an overall direction, I love the hilarious idea. Next, Helveti is yet another roguelike, but it is the best one I played in February. You can play as one of 3 heroes who all have various talents, from an attack-heavy warrior, to a nimble thief, to a powerful mage. Get as far as you can in the story, die, and then level up. The reward system is decent, although it does take some heavy grinding to finish it. What I loved most about it was the art style, as it reminded me a lot of Vanillaware games like Muramasa the Demon Blade or Odin Sphere. It just lacked the pizzazz and polish to make it an immediate recommendation. Next, Scars Above is a game that I loved and hated equally. First of all, it reminded me of another February game, Metroid Prime Remastered, which I also played, but not for review. Anyway, you crash land on a foreign planet in Scars Above and have to get off and also figure out what the heck happened to you and your crew. You collect guns with elemental traits like fire and ice, gadgets, consumables, and there is a skill tree. It's hard at first, but gets easier the more equipment you get. I loved playing it, but it is a technical nightmare. It is truly wild. The cutscenes are the most atrocious because the frame rate is all over the place. The animations while playing also can take a dip in quality. Again, another awesome concept, but boy does it need work. So, maybe by the end of the year, this game will be, a true masterpiece. Next, Wild Hearts is a Monster Hunter clone, and like Scars Above, it looks a bit janky, like it was made for another generation of consoles, but recently got a remaster. It looks bad in places, but it plays well. It does a lot of cool things, like the building mechanics. You get this cool gauntlet that lets you create stuff on the fly, like cubes that can stack and fuse into other things, like gates, or the glider which spins you into the air. There is a feudal era Japan vibe to everything, which I did like, and I like that about Monster Hunter Rise as well. Beyond the building mechanics and art design, though, it's just Well, it's a good clone, but one that didn't push the monster hunting genre forward. And last but not least, Likey Dragon Ishin is a game Western fans have been waiting almost a decade for. It was exclusive to Japan on PS3 and PS4 almost a decade ago, but now it is here in the States. It is a remaster, but not a lot was done to modernize things, which was a letdown for me. The visuals looked barely touched besides the cutscenes, the frame rate was fine, and it was fun to slash and gun down enemies, so the lack of a big graphical upgrade didn't bother me too much. It was little things that made this remaster a bit lackluster to me, like the lack of a lock-on button, a photo mode, a skip button for cutscenes, and just, the list goes on. I'm glad we got it in the end, but could have been so much cooler. And that's it for the game codes I received from publishers. Now, I did play more games, including the aforementioned Metroid Prime Remastered, along with Octopath Traveler 2, Atomic Heart, Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and Hogwarts Legacy. I, of course, wrote a lot about Hogwarts Legacy and most games on this list. As always, check out my work on Game Rant for more in-depth coverage of all of these games and more. Until March, happy gaming!